thegearnetwork.com.
The following is a presentation of the Gear Radio Network.
Hey, this is Deborah Voorhees from Friday the 13th, Part 5. I played Tina. Garden Shears Through the Eyes, you might remember. You are listening to Robbie Vegas with All Bets Are Off podcast.
What's up, rock soldiers? This is the rock star Robbie Vegas bringing you another brand new episode of the All Bets Are Off podcast. Today, we are bringing it back to our horror community here. We have Lisa Neeld, who is a horror movie actress and who's been doing it for quite some time now. And we are going to dig into her career, how she got into acting, doing a lightning round. Of course, I know you guys like those. Helps you get to know the people that you may not be familiar with. But this is a really fun episode. Lisa's a lot of fun, and she's a great interview. So stick around, check that out. And today, the song that I chose for you guys to hear a little clip of is by the Murder Dolls. This is called B-Movie Scream Queen. All right, Lisa, so the first thing I want to do is just thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate your time.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. So I just want to jump right into, I'm very curious to know if you were always a lifelong horror movie fan.
Yes and no. So like growing up, not so much. I mean, I would occasionally, sneak the watching, Nightmare on Elm Street or Chucky, like when I was way younger. And then I kind of just was, I don't know, not lost interest, but I kind of just didn't pay much attention until like later. So up until probably about 15 years ago, I just started watching more horror films and then just completely fell in love with it. And now it's in my soul. I'm horror films are my soul now.
So when you got into it and you started just taking in everything, did you backtrack and go back to the classics and all that stuff?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Cause I was well, where does all this stem from? And, cause it's a whole, culture though. It's a whole, thing on its own. All the horror, the horror films. But yeah, I was shocked. It went way back. Way back.
Yeah. Did you find that the horror community is this is what shocks a lot of people, is they're probably some of the friendliest, most nicest people you're ever going to meet?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which is kind of funny. Cause when you talk to other people, you can tell the interest is there immediately. You're oh, you like horror films, or you're in horror films. They're instant connection, instant.
Yeah. Yeah. They look at you oh, good. So we're best friends. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And literally some of the nicest people ever. No joke. Really nice.
Now, do you, I don't know if you do this yet or not, but do you do the cons too or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's see, when did I start doing the cons? Gosh, way back, probably right after Playboy. So maybe back in 2010. I did some, then I kind of, didn't do many. Then of course, COVID hit and, that sidelined them for a few years. And then since then though, I've been doing a lot, of the Comic-Cons. And then there's some newer, Horror Fest kind of, cons that are happening. So yeah, I would say within the past couple of years, I started getting really into, doing the cons.
when you're doing the cons, is there ever a time where like somebody will bring something up for you to sign and you're like, holy shit, where did you find this?
Yes. Yep. Yep. So I'm like, and what were you Googling?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I remember posting that and thought, okay.
Yeah. Well,
Exactly.
if you can tell us, what do you think's like the craziest thing somebody's brought you that you've been like, oh my God, like, wow.
Let's see, the craziest. Actually, pretty normal things. Like a lot of times people will print off things. They find like but probably I don't know, I've had some people like, again, this was more like a Playboy oriented, but like that had like Playboy items, like whether they were like shirts or bath towels or, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And they would just bring things like that and have me sign it. So that was cool. But yeah, there really wasn't nothing, that I remember like being really like bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
On wood, right? No.
Yeah. I was gonna say there's still time. Don't say that yet.
Yeah, don't say. Maybe we should edit that out, right? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So more of like there's had to be some things that came through that just made you go, wow, this is a deep cut. I can't believe you have this.
Yeah. Exactly. Like,
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
So now, when did you actually decide that you wanted to be an actress?
So way back, this is way back.
Okay.
So I had graduated high school in 1995. So I just gave away my age, but who cares? Just a number.
Right.
So my senior year of high school, J.R. Bookwalter, I'm not sure if you're familiar. He's a Tempe Video. He did The Sandman. So I got my first role way back in 1995 when I was a senior in high school. Yeah. And I was the daughter of the one character, one of the main characters. And it was my first horror film that I did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
And again, first time being on like an indie set. And so that I just was like, wow, I love this. Like, this is like really awesome. And then fast forward. So then life happens and I had kids and fast forward to 30 years old. And then I did photos just for, photo shoot just for like personal reasons for like a Valentine's Day it was. And the photographer was like, hey, let's send these into Playboy. I'm like, get out of here. Like, I'm 30 years old. I'm like, they don't want me. Like, that's, you're 30. I mean, come on, right? And I sent them in. And next thing after that, I attended the casting call in Indianapolis, got selected, and appeared in Playboy's Hot Housewives. And two of their issues, the cover of one in 2009. And then, so that kind of happened. So then it kind of put it out there. So then I'm like, okay, I like this modeling thing. It's great. But then I saw, locally, cause I'm near Youngstown, Warren, Northeast Ohio here, Travis Bowen. I'm not sure if you're familiar, with him, but he had put in the newspaper that he was doing this horror film called The Girl. So this is way back in, 2009. 10, somewhere around there. And it was in the newspaper. So I'm like, well, wait a second. Like, I'm going to contact him. I mean, I have no acting experience other than the one little film, that I did, with the Sandman in 95. But I was like, all he could do is say no, right? So I contacted him and I was like, hey, I just appeared in Playboy, and he's like, oh yeah, and we started talking and I'm like, so if you have like a little role or whatever, he was like, well, how would you like to be the girl, like the main character? I was like, wait, what? So I was just expecting like maybe some like, little like appearance cameo or, whatever, simply because the Playboy stuff just happened. And so he was like, yeah, you want to be the girl? I'm like, okay. So that was horror movie number 2. And that's probably where it started. Cause then I was literally like hooked. I was like, oh my God, this is great. And that filming happened for like a year. And then one thing led to another. From there, I met Len Kabasinski. No, he does action and, I would say his are more like action thriller. I wouldn't categorize him as horror films. But I had met him through Travis. So then I started doing more of his films, and Skull Forest, even though there was a lot of, violence and graphic, killings
Yes.
in it. It probably wouldn't be considered horror though,
Yeah.
And then it started there. And then I met Eddie, who I did Scarred with, met Ari Lehman, who was the first Jason.
Yeah.
But I actually met him in The Girl, because he was actually the character that, was not very nice to mine. I'll just leave it at that. And so I kind of met, him along the way, and then he hooked me up with, contact these people and this, and then one thing leads to another. Now you have like this whole circle of like people that, all do indie films. And so then it kind of like, I still did modeling like here and there, but I was like, nah, this is where I want to be. Like, it's like your passion. You can tell. Not that, obviously Playboy, I'm very proud of that. And, it's one of the most iconic magazines. So of course I'm proud of that. But like, I discovered, like, I think I like acting, that's where I'm more me, like my true, like, so now here we are, like I've done, 28 to 30 films, somewhere around there.
Wow.
And mostly are horror. Majority, is horror films. So yeah,
that's crazy to me. Like that's insane that for somebody who didn't really like get into horror films, the first time you did one a film at all was a horror film.
Yeah,
and then you get back into it, X amount of years later, another horror film, and now you're just so immersed in it, and that's just amazing to me that it just kind of worked out that way, and that you ended up loving it.
Yeah, like it's like I mean it's great. Like we're just always thinking of like, now I started producing like my own little short videos, like the little like short films, like there's like 5 minutes, 7 minutes, and they're just fun. Like we just did one for a film festival for a competition, and it was called Let's Get Young. So it was about a youth serum, and the characters are like old to start off with, and then they take the youth serum, and then one character doesn't want his, and long story short, she sticks somebody in the fire. My character sticks somebody in the fire. So we have like these fire effects that my friend did because he's a special effects artist. And yeah, so I'm like loving it. Like it was just the best time ever. Like, oh, we're going to catch you on fire. Okay, yay. And then of course, like you said, when you connect with the other horror people, they're like, yay, let's, we're going to do some fire. I'm cool with being set on fire today. We're like, yes.
Yeah. It's amazing. It truly is amazing the way that the horror community is, because everybody's down for whatever, and they're all just so friendly. And like at the end of the day, everybody's like, oh my God, horror movie people are strange. And like, they're really not.
No, they're really the coolest people ever.
Yeah.
Like, and one of my favorite, like, wait, what rating is this? Are we allowed to talk about adult things?
Yes. Yeah. Yes,
okay.
Yeah.
Because one of my favorite death scenes ever is from Easter Holocaust. It's actually on Tubi if you wanted to check it out, or anybody wanted to check it out. It's phenomenal. So Michael Leo Senti, he's Glam Boy Productions. He did it. And my character, she's a hooker. And I shouldn't spoil it, but it's too good to not talk about. Like, so this is a spoiler alert. So my character dies by a dildo coming through the back of her head, out her mouth, and it just kills her. It is the funniest of all the death scenes. I kid you not, in all these years of 14 years I've been doing this. In 14 years, it is the best death scene ever. You have got to check it out. Again, I know I just spoiled it, but you have to check it out. It is hilarious.
I mean, that's great though, because I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Deathgasm.
No, but I've heard of it.
Okay,
yeah,
so
I'm well
watch it.
I've never checked it out yet.
You have to watch it. I mean, especially if you're, I don't know, this is one of my questions, so we'll get to it now, but I don't know what kind of music you're into, but Deathgasm is all about heavy metal music and like whatever. And that's the band's name, is Deathgasm. And
is awesome.
There's also a killing scene involving dildos. So you...
Oh my God. See, that's great. That is so awesome. Yeah. I love it. It's so funny because, like we just talk about like nonchalantly. We're just like, so, there's a death scene by dildo. Okay, I'm cool. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like when Michael had asked me about it, he's like, so you know, wrote it up and he's like, so how do you feel about this? He's like, cause you know, the character is a hooker. So it makes sense that she has, you know, this toy in her bag and then it ends up being her demise. And it is just hilarious. I'm like, sure, that's cool. Let's go for it. And it was the best time ever. I kid you not. Hilarious. Just beyond.
That's funny. Well, I mean, since I already brought up the Deathgasm movie, what kind of music do you usually listen to? What are you into besides, you know, horror movies and stuff like that? Are you a music person?
I am. I like a little bit of everything, but I find like last couple of years, I'm more, I guess classic rock, I would say, like rock, but more of like the classic, like, you know, gosh, what's my favorite? Like, you know, like Rolling Stones but then I have some like newer, like the more trendier, I guess, whatever the word is, but the more popular, trendier, pop songs too. But I kind of, like we listen to a lot of just like the classic rock. I used to be, on the radio with one of the hosts here in Youngstown for like 4 years. And it was a rock station.
Oh, wow.
So it was cool. So I kind of just like, and again, growing up on a lot of that, you know, like that was the high school. When I was in high school, a lot of those songs you still hear and you're like, listen to that when I was, you know, back in the day.
Well, I mean, now I got to ask, how did you get into radio?
Again, that was actually Playboy. Well, not, I need to say that correct. It wasn't Playboy, didn't give me that, but when Playboy had came out, it had, you know, appeared in our newspapers and things like that here. And then I was doing interviews, you know, talking about it, on the local radio station. Well, then on 93.3 at the time it was the Wolf. I think since then it has changed. So the one DJ that I was, talking with, his name is Fast Freddy. He's amazing. He's been on the air for like, I think 25 or 30 years, like a long time. Yeah. Amazing human. I love him. But, so we were just kind of talking and then another one of their like, he had like I don't know his title, but he had something to do with the radio station too. He like heard me and he's like, hey, Freddie, like tell her we need to get her on the radio like now. Cause like the way I was like talking again, I don't have any experience. I just was like talking and having a good time. He's like, no, we need to get her on the radio. So then we kind of talked about it. And I thought like maybe they were just joking. Like, yeah, okay. You know, cause people say, you know, oh yeah, let's do this. And then, you know, you're like, okay, I'm still waiting, but no, they were serious. So we started it and it was every Monday and it was this short, like, I think it was like a half an hour or an hour. I can't remember, but you know, it was a talk show and it was called, the G Spot. We talked about like spicy, but now again, it was on the radio. So it was, of course, you know, FCC. Yeah, you had to watch things that you say, but, so yeah, and we pushed the envelope on the spicy talk as far as we could. And yeah, so I stayed on there. I think it was close to 5 years that I was on there every Monday. And then I started doing like appearances with Fast Freddy, you know, a lot, here in, you know, the Youngstown Warren area, like for the radio station. And yeah, so that kind of happens. And simply because, you know, it had came out, you know, that I was in Playboy and that kind of led me, you know, to there. And yeah.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah, it was fun.
That's amazing. Like these doors keep opening, and that's absolutely amazing to me. Now, to bring it back to your movies, do you have a favorite role maybe that you've played so far?
That's tough. Because I do love every time, like every role that I have. Like I'm very grateful because they could pick. There's so many, you know, there's so many talented people. So I'm always fortunate and thankful that like I get to be in front of the camera. So to pick one favorite, boy, that's tough. I would say, I don't know. I mean, there's a few that like really like, how do I put, like, that showed like my range of acting. Like, so in The Girl, I got to be the psycho killer. So that was fun because anytime you get to be bad and, you know, the villain. That's always fun, of course, right?
Yeah.
So that showed a different side. But then I, like in Len's movie, his different movies like Hellcat's Revenge.
Mm-hmm.
My character, she was a biker chick who was tough, who kicked ass. So that was a different side. So, you go to more like the authoritative, from the psycho killer over to authoritative. And then there's the funny, like with Michael's movie with being a hooker and his, his style of movies. And so I like to say that I just had like those are like the range that I have that how do I put, like, I love all of them.
Yeah.
So I guess not one is my favorite over the other, but I'm just, I guess, very fortunate and thankful that I got to show those different ones.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like the different roles. So
yeah, it's like picking your favorite kid.
I just can't pick a favorite because it's definitely fun to play the villain, though. I will say that. Yeah. Because, you get to be a little more,
Yeah, no,
bad.
Yeah. No, I can understand that. Yeah, I totally understand that. Now, I want to talk about what you have going on right around the time that this is going to get released. Actually, you have a movie coming out. It's a Christmas in July release. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, so that is Glamboy Productions. That's Michael Leo Senti. He's the one who directed and wrote and produced the Easter Holocaust. So that's super fun. Yeah, I have, my part is, well, I shouldn't say, well, not too much of a spoiler, but now in this particular role, the character, now she is very authoritative and almost like a bitch. Like she's very, she's authoritative and she pushes her weight around and she knows it. Like, so that I'll say that, but it is, actually, I can't really even say too much else about it because a lot of the other film days I wasn't there. So I really don't know. So I will be just as surprised to see it as everybody else. Yeah. When it premieres at the end of the month.
And you will be attending the premiere.
I will.
And
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So I urge people to check that out. And for anybody listening who's in the area, the premiere is actually just outside of Buffalo, New York.
Yeah. Come out and say hi. It will be a fun time.
Yeah. So now, not including your own films, if I asked you to give me your top 4 horror movies, could you do it?
That's tough too. How do you pick? I will, let's see. I would have to go with, of course, everything. And I wouldn't pick just one. I'd have to go everything Michael Myers, everything. I mean, from start to finish.
Yeah. I
would have to say, I don't know, maybe the last one might have been my favorite, but then that doesn't, how do I say, but the first one, totally different, but the same. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I would have to say probably the first one, but all of them. So that would be yes, definitely. And then everything Chucky. So Chucky, love Chucky. I actually did a lot of cosplay of Chucky, and I even had my little dog do it too. He had a Chucky costume. It was the cutest thing ever. Yeah. So let's see those. And then let's see. I would have to go with Beetlejuice.
Oh.
Because I love Beetlejuice. Oh my God. I love it. And I've yet to cosplay that one. I think one day I will do that. But yeah, I'd have to definitely take Beetlejuice. Definitely. And then of course, Friday the 13th, because, of course you have to take
You
that.
have to. Yeah.
I mean, how could you say the top ones that wouldn't be in there?
Yeah. No, I mean, that's great. That's great. And so totally off topic here, but is that a Wonder Woman tattoo?
It is. Yes.
So you're a comic book fan too, or just Wonder Woman?
Well, I think I shouldn't say it. I am a comic book fan, but I don't have very much knowledge of all comic books. So what primarily interests me, I have a small collection, and it's all like the Bombshells comics, and then of course everything Wonder Woman. So I guess I'm probably more of a Wonder Woman
Yeah.
Versus, because if you asked me to name some superheroes and like whether they're DC or Marvel, I may not know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but if you said anything about Wonder Woman? Oh yes, I will know.
Fantastic. I
Yeah.
didn't even mean to get into that question. I just looked and was like, oh, and I just kind of caught it.
Yeah, Wonder
I
Woman, love her.
I
The
know
Linda
nothing
Carter
about.
version. I mean, I love the new one too, but like Linda Carter, that yes,
See,
chef's kiss, of course.
I'm kind of like you. Like I know some like small things about, that stuff, but I'm really not a comic book person or a comic book movie person. So when people talk to me about that
Yeah.
stuff, I'm like, cool, because I have no clue what you're saying.
I'm like, I mean, I know, like, the more popular ones, like, of course, Suicide Squad.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
of course, Batman and Superman and things like that. Of course, those characters. But yeah, like a lot of like the comic books, yeah, I'm not familiar.
Yeah.
But Wonder Woman, yes.
Yes. So here's a fun question for you. Now, if you could be in any movie that already exists and play the role of your dreams, what would it be?
Oh gosh, boy, that's tough. That is tough. Actually, it's not even. Well, I would have two. That would be a tie because I am obsessed with Legally Blonde.
Okay.
It's not a horror film,
No.
but that love Legally Blonde. So if I got to be like a role in there, and that would be, oh my God, that'd be amazing. But equally tied though, would I like to be killed by Michael Myers? Yes. So, I mean, it's an equal. I mean, I'd take either one.
All right. That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
So this next portion of the show that we like to do, especially with a first time guest, it's the lightning round. And I'm just going to ask you a bunch of random questions. And this is just for our listeners to get to know you who don't already know you. So these might have nothing to do with anything. And they're just for fun.
Okay.
All right. So first lightning round question. Do you prefer New York or Chicago style pizza?
Chicago style.
All right. How about, do you have a favorite TV show?
I do not.
Not a TV person, huh?
Nope.
You're like, I only watch my own movies. No.
Yeah.
I think you might have just answered this one, but I'll ask it anyway. Favorite non-horror movie?
Legally Blonde.
Yeah.
Yep. Without a doubt.
How about this? This is a thinker, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You're going through the Bermuda Triangle. Are you taking a plane or a boat, and why?
Oh gosh. I think I would take a plane because at least I'd be up out of the water that might be some sort of endless circle of not allowing you to leave and sucking you down in. So if I'm above water, I might have a better shot.
All right.
Maybe.
Now,
I don't know.
yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
How about growing up? Did you have a favorite cartoon?
I did. Gem and the Holograms.
Oh, wow. That's great. Yeah. That's great.
Gem, she's truly outrageous.
I love that.
Yeah.
How about vanilla or chocolate?
Chocolate.
Pie or cake?
Cake. Definitely cake.
If you could go anywhere in the world right now, where would you go and why?
Well, I would probably go to Salem, Massachusetts. Because that's on my list to do of trips, because I want to go see like all the history there. And of course, since I love Halloween, it's like Halloween there all the time, right?
Yeah, right,
So
right.
It makes sense that I just have to go there.
Yeah, that's great. Do you have a favorite band?
Favorite? Probably not, because I like a lot of various bands and artists. So probably not just one in general. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, this is going to be the last lightning round question. So if you could bring back one celebrity from the dead to have a conversation with, who is it?
Oh, gosh. Well, I would bring back... Oh, boy, that's tough. Probably Marilyn Monroe.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I would bring her back because she's just amazing, and I would just want to know everything about her. And yeah, I would say her. Yeah, she's fabulous.
When you first started to say her name, for whatever reason, I immediately thought you were going to say Mary Tyler Moore.
Oh.
It's just like, as soon as you started, I was like, oh, this will be interesting.
Ooh, that's okay.
All right, so let's bring it back to your career here before we get you out of here. So what's coming up next for you? We know you have the Christmas in July event for the for that horror film. What do you got going on besides that you're able to tell us about? I don't want to break any rules here and have you spill beans on anything.
Yeah. So let's see. I'll be getting ready to shoot a new film with Travis Bowen. He's the one, like I said, that did The Girl. So his new movie is called Curly. And it's like a horror comedy. So they just started filming a little bit of it. So it's literally just started. So I haven't been on set yet. But the script, what I've seen so far, it's going to be amazingly fun. And good. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a blast. So I have that. Let's see. Oh, and then we're shooting a short film that Matt Jefferson and I and my husband, he runs the camera for it. We're doing a short film. It's more of a thriller. I would say horror, but nobody's actually going to die in this one. So I think maybe more of a thriller would classify it. So actually that's happening in the next couple of weeks. And then what else? Oh, and then, another film with Michael Leocenti. He hasn't put it out there, so I won't put it too much out there before him. But he has a new film that we're going to be working on. And all I will say is, it's a continuation from another one. So maybe one we talked about. Again, because I don't want to let him announce it. But so that's coming up. So yeah, I have two bigger roles and then a small film that I'll be doing, a short that I wrote and will be directing it. So it'll be fun.
Excellent. Very cool. Yeah. Very cool. Real quick, how long have you been writing it just in general? So you mentioned a couple times now that you're writing the short films, but how long have you been doing that?
So recently, I want to say only about a year, because I was like, being on all the sets and in the storylines and everything, I'm like, well, wait, I kind of like have some, things that like I would like to do, but I shouldn't say I don't want to. I think right now, like, I'm good with like the short films. Because they're less commitment and they're shorter and, to get more of experience of that end of it. But not that I would never want to do a feature. I think I'm good in the short right now. So, but yeah, like I kind of like, it's funny how like you think of an idea and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, we can make that into short. And then my husband is the best because he'll be like, I'm like, so you're going to do this character. And he's like, okay, whatever. And then can you run the camera? He's like, yeah, whatever. It's fine. It's all good. So he's always game for everything too. He's like, okay. And then, our friend Matt Jefferson, he directs his own films too, but he does acting in a lot of other films, but he does special effects too. So we have him on board. So yeah, we're just kind of like, and again, he's wonderful too. Cause hey, you want to do this and can you be a ghost or can I set you on fire or whatever? He's like, okay, cool. All right.
I love it. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
So the last thing I want you to do before we wrap up is to plug where everybody can find you. So social media, or if there's websites or whatever, so that, they could start to follow you, or if you're going to be doing con appearances or upcoming movies and things like that. I want them to be able to find everything that you have going on.
Well, thank you. Thanks so much. So actually upcoming cons, September the 15th, I will be at the Ohio Comic-Con. That's Broadville Heights. So I will be appearing there. Then I will be at Sinister Horror Fest, which is Warren, Ohio. That's actually at the Skyway Drive-In. So they're going to be showing a lot of films, horror films on the big screen at the drive-in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that will be fun. And then, so those are few ones coming up. And then, of course, the Christmas Bloodbath is showing in Hamburg, New York. So those are the upcoming things. But you could check me out on Facebook. I'm Lisa Neeld Infant on there. And then Instagram, I'm actress Lisa Marie. And then also my IMDb is IMDb/Lisa Neeld. So you can check out all the movies. And actually, if you just go to Tubi and type in my name, it should pull about, 10 of them, I think, are on Tubi. So it'll show all of, the indies that I've done there. So,
I was going to say you're on Tubi a lot because that's how that's how I normally see your.
Oh, okay,
movies, so,
cool.
Yeah.
Tubi's the best. I love it.
I know, it's great. It's great.
Yeah.
Lisa, this was so much fun. You're so easy to interview and fun to talk to. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thanks for your time. Thanks for having me.
Of course. And if there's anything in the future that you want to plug or get out there or do any kind of press for, just hit me up and we'll get it out here. Even if it's just a little snippet to put into, another episode, we'll do it.
Perfect. Well, I will take you up on that. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, no problem. You enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Thanks a lot. All right, rockers, I hope you enjoyed that interview, and please give Lisa a follow across social media, and be on the lookout for her new movies, and go on Tubi and check out the ones that are already out, and we will catch you guys next time on the All Bets Are Off podcast.
The preceding presentation has been brought to you by the Gear Network.